So I have a series of videos here. Not counting this video, I've got 133 videos that outline on my criminal victimization and the civil law violations that I've been subjected to. And the primary party behind these is Wells Fargo, but as you'll see through these videos, Wells Fargo has all kinds of accomplices. Now, I've got, you see here on this graph, I've got each section of the videos, and I've got the total playtime. And so each section, or most of the sections, will have multiple videos. So this privacy violation, as you'll see, if you've got my spreadsheet or whatever it is that I sent you these videos on, you'll see this privacy violation has 6 videos, this one has 3 videos, this one has 6, and so forth. And each section builds on the previous section. And so, without understanding this privacy violation, you're not going to understand this mobile crisis scam. Okay, you're going to be missing context. Okay, and this is this crime right here with this unlawful civil commitment process that I was subjected to. This is part of that. These two crimes are related, and it goes on as you go on into these videos. That if you don't look at the background of the healthcare fraud, you're not going to fully understand the healthcare fraud, for instance. Now I've got in several of my videos, and you may have this otherwise. I might put in my spreadsheet or whatever I send you on these videos. I've got a link to my written complaint to the United States Department of Justice. I would recommend not reading that complaint for the reason that it is excessively detailed, and it's 126 pages. It's going to take you, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours to read 126 pages, and all it is an overly detailed account of the crimes that I've been subjected to. And then I reference a lot of the evidence. I tell you about what I found out and stuff like this, but you don't get to actually see any of the evidence. Okay, so you're going to walk away. I'm not much more convinced that what I say has occurred than you were when you started if you read my complaint. However, if you instead invest, that 2-3 hours, I guess it would probably take the average person 2 or 3 hours to read that complaint, 126 pages, double spaced. In 2 hours, 51 minutes, 35 seconds, you can go and validate all of these crimes right here, or at least you can watch the videos. Now these videos, I've got, you'll get on my spreadsheet, I've got a tab for the evidence packets where you can download the evidence packets to go over the evidence. And if you've got this list of videos on something other than the spreadsheet, I'll certainly provide you the same, the links to the evidence packets. And so there will be some work involved in looking at the evidence, and actually it's these right here. This is what is the 2 hours and 51 minutes. But you invest that time here, and you'll be well on your way to understanding what has occurred, and into validating these crimes and seeing that what I allege has certainly occurred. Now these videos, I didn't put a tremendous amount of thought into the preparation of these. I did the best that I could, I think overall it's very, very, very efficient what I've done. But one thing to note is, especially if the videos drag out a little bit too long, I'm a little bit go back and forth on some of these. But as you start to get like video 100 and 101, 102, past the first 100 videos, what happens is I start to get sick of making videos, and I become a little bit more sloppy. And there are a few videos in that section between the video number 100 and video number 132 where the video might last 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and what I'm going over, I could have went over, had I done better preparation, I could have went over in 6 minutes or 7 minutes. There's one instance of that I can remember, and there might be others, where I drag it out extremely excessively. I don't think there's more than 2 or 3 at the most. Probably just that one, maybe 1 or 2. What I ask you to do there is just to stick with me. And of course, in these evidence packets, there are materials that accompany each section in the evidence packets. So when you get to the background of the healthcare fraud, I got a bunch of my healthcare records. Same thing with this healthcare fraud. And these materials that accompany the videos, and a lot of these videos, even the ones that are done efficiently, you could get 80, 85, 90% of the value of what I go over in just the evidence packet. Okay, you could skip the video. What I encourage you to do, and what I ask you to do, is please watch the videos, because that 20%, that 15%, that 10%, that 5%, whatever it happens to be that you're missing, as I'm narrating in these videos, I'll start to tell you stuff about my reasoning, about my evidence, things that will give you insights and help you understand what's going on. Those are very, 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 very valuable. If you just go and start looking at the materials that I have provided without watching the videos, you will not get the value of you'll miss a whole lot of value. And of course, these videos that they're long, a lot of them, it takes a while, and that's kind of a benefit to you as the person watching this, that you're going to have to comprehend and take in and understand and kind of wrestle with in your mind my evidence and my reasoning for why these crimes have occurred. There's no skipping that part of the process, and so the way that I present these videos in a way that's kind of dragged out and kind of slow at times allows you to have some processing time to think about what you're seeing and to think about what I'm saying. And the way that I've designed these videos, where they go kind of slow, won't really take that much off at all, or won't take anything off at all of the total time that it takes you to validate these crimes, which I've got total play time is 21 hours and 49 minutes. You can skip these two if you're just validating crimes, these 2 sections, and save yourself about 2 hours. These 2 right here, and so you can tone it down to about a little less than 20, a little less than 20 hours total. And of course, that's the watch time. You've still got the evidence, like in this healthcare fraud, I go over the evidence pretty thoroughly in these videos. But like in this privacy violation, this mobile crisis scam, this one in particular, this set of crimes in particular right here. And in particular, these 2, or these 3, I guess you would say. It's more like these 2. But I've got some recorded phone calls that you'll need to listen to fully take in what's happened in those recorded calls. One of them is about 50 minutes. I can't remember the other one. The other one's much shorter, about 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. But that'll be part of your process. And I've got an airtight case for essentially everything that I claim. There's one specific crime that I don't have any hard evidence for. I've just got reasoning, and I've got some good reasoning for that crime. The rest of these, I'm going to have a combination of hard evidence and reasoning. The hard evidence and the reasoning in combination amounts to an airtight case. My weakest evidence is for these HIPAA violations. I've got some HIPAA violations. So part of these HIPAA violations, there's one in particular that I have essentially no hard evidence for, and then there's additional HIPAA violations that occur that I've got maybe 60%. My case is 60% hard evidence, 40% reasoning, something like that, or maybe 50. But I think with these HIPAA violations, if I were to present this to a jury in a criminal trial, and this is all they had, they didn't have any witnesses, all they had to go off was my videos and my evidence. Say I give this to 6 juries, I would expect 3 of them to have a guilty verdict, probably. It's very, very, very strong evidence here for these HIPAA violations that they've occurred, and in particular the ones that I have hard evidence for. This privacy violation, I got a lot of hard evidence for this. I don't think anybody will doubt what has occurred here once they go over my videos and look at my evidence, because I've got my manager admitting to what happened. This mobile crisis scam. These are crisis counselors. These are people with social worker degrees that are writing up healthcare records, and they make fraudulent healthcare records. You have to be an expert to validate those. Okay, and that's one thing that this entire thing, once you get past this privacy violation, this entire thing involves the subject matter of psychology, somewhat the subject matter of psychiatry, and it involves it in kind of a high level. But if you're an expert, if you're a psychologist, a psychiatrist that's been practicing and you're skilled, you'll be able to see this mobile crisis. This is a flat-out crime right here, blatant scam. Okay, same thing with the civil commitment. It's a flat-out crime. This is bullshit. Okay, I've got plenty of all the hard evidence that you'll need for this, which you don't even need a whole lot, but what hard evidence you need, I've got there. This hospital stay, this is important, don't skip this. This narrates what happens when I stay at the hospital after the civil commitment where they have me forcibly hospitalized. I stay at this hospital, and you want to pay attention to this hospital stay. And there is some information about what happens following the civil commitment process, and I also gave some details about what happens when Atrium Health starts demanding that I provide them phone numbers to people in my personal life, like my mother and my friend Jenny, so they can call them. And this becomes problems down the road, the fact that I give them these numbers, because once you give it to them, it's impossible to delete them. Okay, and what happens is they end up on the Verizon bill of the whole fucking hospital. Okay, then this Atrium Health fraud, again, I've got blatant smoking gun evidence here. You have to make a few, one or two very conservative inferences to determine that Wells Fargo is behind this. But the fact that this lady is up to no good, that she's trying to illegally obtain my healthcare records, I've got all the evidence you need for that and the recorded calls, and I've streamlined it very, very well in my videos. If you watch these videos about the Atrium Health fraud, I've got 5 of them, it's a no-brainer. And these two, this can be skipped, but this is about what I left behind is about the pain and the mess of the life that I left behind in the mountains of western North Carolina. And this provides context as to why what has occurred is such a big deal to me. About my PTSD, explains to you about how my PTSD developed, that my case, what's happened to me, is kind of abnormal, and I think it can confuse some people as to how I developed PTSD as a result of these events, and that's what I explain in these videos. But you can skip both of these if you want to just validate crimes. Then I go over the HIPAA violations, where these numbers that I'm forced to give and that are impossible to delete, these people become a regular, ongoing, ongoing illegal contact with Atrium Health. And isn't that lovely? This overview of 2020. And again, here I've got about 50%, it's either 60-40, 50-50, I would say, of hard evidence or reasoning. That this is the least powerful of my evidence for the various sections, with the exception of one crime. Again, I've told you I've got one crime, and you'll see that as you go through here. I've got one crime that I have, have no hard evidence at all. This overview of 2020. This is here. We're transitioning now into where Wells Fargo and these other parties, they start to lay the groundwork for some crimes. That here they've committed a slew of crimes here with all of this. And with this and all of this, we've got all kinds of crimes, and they know they've been caught, and they start to work on weaseling out, and they lay the groundwork for some crimes. In this section right here, they lay the groundwork for some more criminal They lay the groundwork for criminal claims that are aimed to discredit these crimes that I've been subjected to. And so this overview of 2020 just gives you a 30,000-foot view of what you're going to see as you progress through the rest of this section, through the rest of these videos. There's a transition that occurs here in 2020. This Facebook scam, this is going to sound bizarre to you. Hopefully you've got my contact information if I've sent you the spreadsheet. If you need me to further explain this to you, again, watch the videos. Make an argument about what's happened. I've got hard evidence for this. Some of it I haven't provided you with. But this is absolutely happening, and it's kind of a sideshow to the rest of these crimes and civil law violations. But they run a scam on Facebook, this again, it's hard to understand. But again, I've got hard evidence and reasoning. Without a doubt, what I claim to have happened is absolutely happening. And I plan on possibly reporting these people to Facebook once I get some more of my evidence prepared. And then this background to healthcare fraud, this is contextual information here, but you will be able to see that there's some very, very funny things going on. There's something not right with the way that Atrium Health is preparing my healthcare records in relation to what I'm reporting to Atrium Health. Okay, and this is right here. They lay the groundwork for what occurs in this section. And here, this is where I have this section here, this healthcare fraud, Know My Health scam, background to final crimes, these all, so this, and this all pertain to healthcare fraud. The healthcare fraud is the common element here. We have some mild healthcare fraud here that sets the stage for some extraordinarily blatant healthcare fraud here. We have healthcare fraud that occurs again here, and then we have a slew of healthcare fraud that occurs here. And this is my most powerful evidence. If you're a psychologist, especially if you're a psychiatrist that's been practicing, you've worked in a psychiatric hospital or an inpatient unit or an outpatient center, that you saw a slew of patients, you know what it's like to write up a history of present illness. You know the conventions, you understand the psychology, you understand mental illness. I'm knocking the ball out of the park here. This is my strongest evidence of all, and after, again, you've got to have the context, because it's not going to make sense if you don't have the context that's established with these initial crimes. Okay, because these initial crimes are what make what's happened to me a massive liability for all these different parties involved, and that's why they go to such extreme lengths to do all of this. And this involves what happens in this healthcare fraud, as they start to claim that my belief that all these crimes happened, that all this, my belief that all these happened, they start to make this out to be a symptom of my mental health condition. Okay, and so if you don't understand, if you haven't watched all this and went through my evidence to understand the very, very, very strong reasons I believe. Okay, it's an airtight case. I've got every reason on earth to believe this. I've been telling Atrium Health why I believe this for a year and a half. At the point they start this healthcare fraud, then it's not going to fully make sense to you. In other words, without you knowing the evidence as to why I believe all this stuff, the evidence that I have, the reasoning that I have, the events that have occurred, for all you know, and you might agree with them. Hey, I just think this. I don't know. But again, you get this context, and you go and validate this healthcare fraud. It is conclusively, definitively, you can see what is happening. Just go through the videos, and that's another thing is I encourage you, please, resist the temptation to skip ahead. Watch the videos in order, with the exception if you want to skip these right here. If you want to skip these, you can skip these, but watch the videos in order, because everything's been prepared in a sequential order, such that everything that needs to make sense to you, by the time you get to here, for instance, by the time you get to here, all the stuff that's supposed to make sense to you will have made sense to you by the time you've made it there. I've got this is a 4 years plus long criminal massacre. Okay, this privacy violation was in December 17. The final crimes happened around October to November of 2021. And so you got a 4 years investigation that I've conducted. Now I've got the whole thing streamlined so that I can present the whole thing to you in 21 hours and 49 minutes. And if you skip this, you can get it back under a little less than 20 hours if you skip these two. Okay, that's a massive achievement. And that's despite the fact that you might have to spend another 5 or 10 hours, maybe 15 hours at most. I don't know what you'll have to spend, but you won't have to spend much time. That is a hell of an accomplishment to streamline such a massive criminal massacre involving such sophisticated subject matter. I've done you a real service here. If you have anything to gain from this, from validating these crimes, if you don't have anything to gain, thank you for watching these. Okay, this is important to me. I want to get all the exposure that I can. I need all the people on my side that I can have. Had I just turned you over all my PDFs, my evidence analysis, and my MP3 files, the evidence folder that I have for these crimes, and between my evidence and evidence analysis materials, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of files, hundreds of files of different file types. So I've got documents, MP3s, I've got MP4s for I do analysis, I've got Word docs, I've got PDFs, some Excel spreadsheets. If I just hand you over all that in my written complaint, it would take you forever. Okay, but this video is getting long, so I'll go ahead and cut this off. But you can start with the privacy violation. Start there, and like I say, just one after the other, validate these crimes. Go through this sequentially, and you cannot fail. Okay, if you're an expert, if you're a genuine expert who understands psychology, who understands psychiatry at a fairly, pretty high level, and you take some high level understanding here, you will be able to see, by the end of this videos that you've watched, you will have a verified, validated criminal massacre involving numerous parties, including Wells Fargo, a too big to fail bank, and including other. You'll see when you get into it.